Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here to speak with you today, Ami. Earlier today, I learned how similar my role as in product marketing is to that of a cultural anthropologist, in that I'm so close to our customers and I'm really trying to understand them and advocate for their perspective. Submittable, by way of brief introduction, is the sponsor of the fabulous espresso bar. You may have been enjoying your Submittable branded lattes. Thank you. We are a corporate purpose and social impact platform that really empowers corporations to bring their purpose to life and kind of translate it into the lived experiences of their employees and other stakeholders in their communities. And we do that through using our platform to launch, manage, and measure community investment programs such as grants or internships. Shout out to that conversation about internships earlier, as well as employee engagement programs such as volunteering and giving. So as we heard in the introduction, we've been hearing all day, we started the morning with the description of employees as the soul of the company. And Amidjar, you are the founder of Idealist, which I think of sort of the original online destination for purpose-driven people to go to find employers that were value-aligned with them. Tell me a little bit more about that company that you founded and serve as executive director of, and where it all started.
Yeah, so thank you, and thanks all for being here. I'm curious, before I start, how many of you have heard of, been touched of in some way about idealist.org in your life, in your career? Awesome, so I can leave now. No, I'll say a bit more. So Idealist was started in '95, at the beginning, really, of the internet. '95, for those of you who remember, I don't want to sort of date anyone here, but '95 was the first year in which you could connect a web page to a database. You could do a search. And so in that year, you got Craigslist and Yahoo and eBay, and Idealist launched that year. And it was many things at the beginning, and I'll come back later to what we really want to do with it or why we launched. But it soon became the place on the web to find a nonprofit and impact job in the US. So for 20 years now or more, it's been a place. I think we have probably 1.2 million jobs have been posted and filled on the site over the years. And I think one thing that's relevant, just to add to that for this audience, is that last year or 2 years ago, we also added the possibility for companies such as yours, businesses, to post any job that is in any way related to impact. So philanthropy, sustainability, volunteer management, community. If you have any jobs like that, they're also welcome on idealist.org. So that's a job posting part of it.
All of the people who use our products for Submittable. So one trend that I am seeing among our clients in this space is really the democratization of many of these types of social good programs. And what I mean by that is employees themselves are becoming more involved in not only demanding them, but also in the actual creation and administration of them and helping them to be successful either through ERGs or leveraging their relationships that they have with nonprofits in the communities, or just channeling their passion to help these kinds of initiatives to be successful and to drive more participation. And you at Idealist are working on a new, very exciting initiative that I think is really going to kind of tap into that democratized approach. Can you share with us about Idealist Days?
Yes, I can. So no, seriously. So basically, Idealist was launched, or I launched it in '95, '94, because I felt that all over the world there's a big gap between the intentions that all of us have, the things we see in the world that we'd like to change, and then the action that we actually take, right? We all feel this every day. There are things that we read in the news that we'd love to respond to in some way, or things even within our business or just helping a neighbor, and we don't really know where to start, or we're afraid to start, or we don't know who to work with. We don't really feel maybe that we have even like the social permission to actually propose something. It may feel weird. So to do something about all of that, started Idealist, but that doesn't seem to feel enough. And so coming into this next year, we're going to launch a new initiative. We're calling it Idealist Days. The idea is to have a monthly day of action and celebration all over the world at the same time. We picked a very specific sort of set of dates for it. You know how if you say 3/7, in Europe, that's July 3rd, but here that's March 7th, right? So the only day where that's not true, in that case, would be 3/3 or 7/7, right? So we realized that those days were sort of branding-wise available. No one had grabbed them. And so we said, how about we just declare that every month, every year, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, those dates, we're going to call them Idealist Days, and we're going to simply arbitrarily decide that those are the days in which everyone everywhere has permission to go out, do, propose, celebrate, etc. And so if you remember, some of you remember this concept of take your daughter to work day, right? Which then became take your child to work day. And the idea there was to create just an arbitrary date in the year in which people had permission to bring their daughter to work. That day was cool. Next day, not so good. Didn't make much sense, right? But that day, and the fact that everyone does it, allows everyone to do it. So what if we said, what if once a month, what would happen in our community and around the world if each of us did one thing for someone or something we care about, just once a month? And what if we all inspired each other to just do much more? And imagine this almost like as a vertical thing where if you or a company wants to do something in schools, it'll be easier to do it that day if school principals know that that day you may talk to them about that day, right? Or it may be easier to do something in the street if the mayor is willing to close the streets that day because it's Idealist Day. So the stuff can all feed into each other. And so that's going to be happening beginning in New York early next year. And I'm going to leave you with sort of one thing if you want to jot down a date in a moment that we just thought about this week actually. 10/10 next year, October 10th, 10/10 at 10. Just remember that or put it in your calendar. We'll try to do something cool all over the world on 10/10 at 10 a.m. and maybe 10 p.m. too. But 10/10 at 10 next year, we'll see you online or in person and do something nice together.
As a proud veteran of Take Your Daughter to Work Day, I very much appreciate the idea behind just, as you say, giving people permission. You know, we're in a room surrounded by people who experience this every day, how much people want to be spending their time and to have opportunities to give back to their communities in kind of a more tangible way. And I think it's so exciting that there's just going to be monthly opportunities. And I don't think you shared with me earlier I didn't think about the kind of the March 3rd versus the European versus different places in the world. So I love that. And I know you mentioned, can you speak to the importance of why Idealist Days themselves don't have a particular theme, and why is that?
So the rationale there, at least, we'll see if it works, is that the world is so diverse, so different, so many people want to do so many different things, and there are enough days already, an annual day of X or Y. This is really more saying, if you want to propose something at your business, in this case, your workplace, you've been sort of waiting for a moment to raise your hand and propose it, or you've been thinking about inviting a speaker to speak to your staff about X from a local nonprofit, or if you want to propose a change in the policy, that would be a day to do it. And it would be easier, just easier to go to your boss or your manager when other people are doing it too, right? One of the things I think that stops many of us is this feeling of being, being weird, being crazy. People crave status, and people don't want to be seen as the strange one. But if everyone is doing it that day or around that day, then you feel you have that same permission as well. And if you're seeing certain things being done at other companies, then that social contagion that we heard about earlier can sort of take root. And so it's much easier to go and propose something once others have done it than be the first one to do it. So that's one of the reasons why no specific issue, no specific theme, anything that anyone wants to do. We've been experimenting with this for a while now. It's been fascinating. We sort of proposed this. We created this big Facebook group where this has been going on for a while now. And we thought of this as a day of, action. And then people would post things like, I stopped smoking yesterday because it's Idealist Day and I'll never smoke again. And people sort of using a milestone as an excuse for anything. Or someone saying, I paid for the person behind me at the car wash and I just left. And that made them smile, and it made me smile. So the idea of just having one day a month where we just deepen our humanity and sort of create in our own way the world that we think should be around us, each in our own small way.
Yeah, I love that. So not only opportunities for people to kind of engage in volunteering maybe with their coworkers or giving back to the community, but just kind of an opportunity for acts of kindness to spread like wildfire throughout different communities. And I do think another reason I love that Idealist Days can be whatever it is that the community itself needs is because it is the members of those communities who know that best, and they can kind of create the opportunities that are right for them. What's your vision of Idealist Days? Let's say you're right and it works 5 years from now.
5 years from now. So it's interesting. I smiled when you said if I'm right. It's one of those things where all you can do is propose. It'll work if people out there would like it to work, and if they find it useful. If people feel that it's useful to have a hook on which to hang a story and say, hey, would you want to do this because this day of the month is coming up? So in 5 years, I'd love it to be big. I'd love it to be everywhere. I'd love to substantially change the way that people relate to neighbors, to employees, to coworkers. I think all of us, I know the time is up, but I think deep down we all have a sense of that the world could and should be better. Intuitively, we feel that. And I think we can definitely push together in that direction, and that will be a good thing.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.